Welcome to this year-end wrap-up show, Left Reckoning. It is our bum steer segments. This is for folks. Originally, I was unaware of the connotation of bum steer, which I think is the main one of a cattle, a metaphor. A steer, you're sold a steer that isn't, I guess, can't go on the range or something.
Well, we'll take it. You don't want to be one.
I always thought it was a sort of nautical metaphor, saying you steered in the wrong direction and now we're like facing in the wrong course, sort of programmatically, which is how I sort of think about this more generally. And we're gonna have a few nominations, and we're gonna have a sort of democracy. It's unclear where we're gonna put the voting for this. Maybe it'll be on Patreon. Maybe I guess it can do it on the YouTube chat, but probably on Patreon. But we're going to make some nominees for our bum steer of the year. Maybe we can even give our own special, who we would vote for. And then y'all can decide. The first
people
one,
choose.
Yeah, exactly. By the people, we mean supporters of this show, Left Reckoning, who are the people to us. My first nominee.
All right.
Making the news a lot lately in the sort of balkanization of the right wing, in this sort of post Charlie Kirk, post Gaza genocide, which is Nick Fuentes. Nick has sort of been given the red carpet treatment for reasons I haven't quite understood by a lot of the press after Charlie Kirk died. I mean, I understand it from the sense that he does a lot of numbers. It seemed the occasion of it being like one of the leading lights got iced out. I don't know. It seemed a little bit gross to me. He is a Nazi. He has dined with Trump before. I think he was part of the gang that went with Kanye West, I think.
Yes.
And so Nick, really nasty guy. He's been getting a certain credit because he's saying Candace Owens isn't saying, well, the truth is she may be. He's also said things like it's so sympathy for the Palestinians in a way that strikes me as a little bit opportunistic, because it's a winning issue for good reasons, because we just witnessed one of the worst crimes in history. But I just want people to remind people who Nick Fuentes is, and that is just a white supremacist. So one of these Nazis that pays Elon Musk for a check mark every single month has posted this clip of Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes goes off on Republicans trying to appeal to young men with housing and grocery prices. And then he gives a quote. I think it's, we'll just play Nick here and let him. And I'll be honest, I used to have a policy against noticing this guy on this sort of stuff, but obviously, like, he's clearly broken containment. I think you're wasting your life if you've been caught up in this stuff, and you should take this as a severe warning to turn shit around in your life. But let's just play this clip now that we have to, I guess, talk about this clearly pathological in many ways young man. Here is Grimaldus posting Nick Fuentes.
The difference is that I care about the country. That's why I talk about white genocide, because that is what is happening in the country. Nothing else matters. People talk about housing prices. Dude, fuck housing prices. Our race is dying. Okay. I don't care if houses cost $1 million. It would be worth it if we lived in a white country. We are living in Africa. We are living in Mexico. We are living in a Middle Eastern bazaar. We are living in India. And people go, gee, I think it's the housing prices. I think it's because the Thanksgiving turkey is up 10%. That's not the problem. People say it's because of the housing prices and Gamergate or whatever. We need libs of TikTok in the White House. We need libs of TikTok on steroids. Dude, our race is being genocided. It's over. White people are being shamed and guilted. We are being beat up and murdered in the streets. They want us gone.
Okay, I think that's about enough of the hysterical chicken little act. As a white man myself, grow the fuck up.
I mean, Matt, it is make believe and pretend world. Like to be like literally to talk about this. Like, first of all, you have to have something that's imagined, right? Which is like the white race in general, right? I'm sorry, but like Fuentes, you know what I mean? Like this whole idea that like there's like some group of people out here that's like under threat. First of all, like the threat imagined, also the community imagined, and then to say, hey, these actual things that exist in your life, they don't matter, right?
No.
I mean, and this is what it is. It's like, but this is what fascism always has been about. It is about creating a fantasy for you to give some kind of fake meaning to your life, instead of actually engaging positively in one making your life better, or engaging with the things that are making your life worse, which are actually, by the way, all the things that Nick Fuentes is totally fine with and is unconcerned about.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And what's interesting about looking at the sort of constellation of guy who it is really pathetic to have gotten so low that you look to a guy like Nick Fuentes, who is, I mean, clearly he's a self-hating gay guy.
Yeah.
That is, I think, fairly obvious. This sort of race thing, that who gives a fuck if you can afford a house because of the white demographic falling. This should not be formidable.
Yeah.
But why is it? Well, because capitalism produces a bunch of broken people. And this is the organization of that sort of broken humanity. Like, how do you get to a point where this is constructed by the collapse of the American dream? Really, like this sort of this should not be as persuasive it is to so many people. And ultimately, whenever the push comes to shove with this sort of confrontation, like this sort of Nazi shit, it only succeeds in the shadows, and through subterfuge and by disguising itself. Open confrontation, I think, is a very winnable one, as we look forward to creating an actual world that people do want to live in. And it's not just because of the fucking, I don't know what Nick's imagining amidst 30 Christmas trees, like on a Christmas tree showroom. That
totally sinister, that too. The whole Christmas decoration thing. I mean, yeah, it just shows that these are people with weird psychosexual issues. And I think it's also notable, the format of this program, and it encourages loneliness, sure, but it also encourages, you're talking about, Matt, how these problems are created by capitalism. I mean, this is also something where you're trying to encourage people to kind of stay at home and consume, right? Even in that, it's still can't even get outside of itself. So
that's a really good point. I mean, you're seeing a gender divide that is between young men and young women in the Gen Z that is actually extremely significant on these major issues. And it's shocking to me that exactly that is happening. Which young male adulthood has always been a very anxious time. Look at any male comedy. It's about have you lost your virginity yet? Basically, right? And if you haven't, you can be driven insane, literally, and be going into certain areas that are not going to be productive and are going to keep you in that loop. That's why they call it pathological. And it's not, I'm not out. When I talk to women in New York City, I am not having to compete with guys who are coming onto the scene with all the great knowledge that they've learned from Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes and Jordan Peterson. Those guys are at home watching content.
No, and I will just say this, Matt, not to embarrass you, but if you are a young man and you're looking to have better luck, there is the Matt Leck method. I will say our friend Matt cleans up, and he's a way better role model for you to find fulfillment and happiness in your life than some weird ass Nazi in a fake Christmas car.
Yeah,
studio.
who little disclosure, owns property. So
no way.
Does
he own a pool?
If property prices go up, he gets to sell higher. So yeah, he doesn't care if housing goes down. You stupid motherfuckers. And I hope we're at a point now, and maybe that is one benefit of Trump getting a second term, that there can be no lost cause mythology that, oh, he just needed another term to get in there and sort things out. No, we're out of fucking ideas. There's not going to be a secret health savings account fix to Obamacare. Like, all this stuff there's not going to be med beds. The fast food is not going to make you healthy by eating it all of a sudden. This has all been a lie. And look, I don't trust Democrats. If there's anybody that can make sure that lesson isn't learned, it's people like Chuck Schumer, Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, who are actively like perpetrating their own sort of fabrications. But man, like this stuff is gonna, I think, wear really thin. And I hope the formidability that Candace Owens showed in her tiff with Nick Fuentes recently, I hope that look, both these people are psychotic. But I hope that does indicate that this sort of cult, this is a cult more than it is a culture being formed around Fuentes. And those can rise and fall pretty quickly. And I think maybe we've been wrong not to address it more forthrightly and thinking that, leaving that in the shadows. This sort of stuff can only survive in the shadows where people don't realize like that. Nobody who gets on, like I was talking to Nathan Robinson a few months ago. They didn't come at him very much at all when he wrote the piece on Nick Fuentes. They're kind of a little bit afraid, I think, of men, honestly. In this, they'll go after women like crazy. They'll dogpile, libs of TikTok, even right-wing women. Barry Weiss, Candace Owens, they'll go after her. These are little boys that are lost. And look, some of them can be redeemed, obviously. Like this is a huge. I think basically what I think generally in this country is we're overdue historically for a religious revival. Christianity doesn't have the juice, in my opinion, to do that. There needs to be some kind of spiritual. There it is. That's it. We're all going to convert to it. No, I think there will be something. I hope it's not fucking organized religion. There's going to be some kind of, I think, people talk about this vibe shift, something with all of this nastiness, with all of the state failures, with all the AI slop. There's going to be some kind of awakening, I think, happening here because people have been lied to, as we've said a lot lately, for far too long.
Well, not to get too deep in the weeds on this, but I think that you're right in diagnosing a problem, and I think it's something that has come out of, like, I think American capitalism, and you see it certainly on the left. I think the right, in a certain extent, but it wears a different kind of clothes. And this is like, the fear of actually being able to speak about like what is good and what is bad and like what a good life looks like and what a bad one does. And it's been something that the right has, like, I don't know, dabbled in for a long time. But I think there's a reason that you see these kind of misogynist figures coming in because people, are looking for some level of like guidance, and it's disgusting and despicable, what's kind of out there. And I think on our side, we should go beyond, I don't know, kind of a politics and a philosophy that just says like, we are for the absence of like suffering, or we're for the absence of exploitation, and also have like an affirmative vision of like, this is what like a good life looks like now, and also how we could build a better life in the future. I mean, I think people should have like, role models of like excellence. For me, I always think of like, what kind of role model would I like to have in the social society to be somebody like Paul Robeson, an incredible football player, singer, lawyer, thinker, obviously an incredible actor. I mean, you could just go down the list here. But this was somebody who in every aspect of their life was truly excellent, and also very much embodied, I think, like socialist ideals of like masculinity, of solidarity, right? This is somebody who could have just kind of like turned their back on, everybody else, the working class, the international movement. I mean, there's somebody who's vilified for it, but instead always came back to the class, always came back and fought for working people, and was targeted by the U.S. government for it. And I think that it'd be good I think for a lot of people to kind of promote ideas like that. And, to not be so timid about it, because I think there is a kind of weird, miserable, like kind of like neoliberal anxiety of, I don't know, holding on to like higher ideals, and being able to defend those as good things in and of themselves. That I don't know. I think it gives space to the right for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's so the long-term problem with liberalism is freedom doesn't necessarily tell people how and what the meaning of life should be. And taking and what is removed when you're given the sort of a la carte menu of what's the meaning of life. The white demographic is one you can choose to give a fuck about and to order your life around. The one that's removed from any sort of media, really, historically, has been class conflict.
Yeah.
Which is that working people deserve a more materially dignified life.
Engaging with history.
Yep.
In a direct way. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty meaningful thing.
Yep.
Well, that's our nomination.
That's the first nomination for me. Nick Fuentes and Chupacabra. I'm a little bit influenced by all. It's really weird looking at his stuff because half the people are like, "Fuck yeah, based," and then half the people are like, he's white with other Nazis saying he's white with a last name like Fuentes, which,
I know it's pretty nasty, man.
Nasty stuff. Don't go down there. Don't do it, folks.
Don't go that way. Well, talking about kind of, living full lives, being good at many, many different things. Renaissance man. I have another Renaissance man, to maybe nominate. For Bum Steer of the Year. And I will say, for me, criteria of Bum Steer of the Year is not the worst person in the world, the most evil person in the world. It's a combination of two things. It's somebody who wants to do evil, but is also really kind of fucking up. But this one is an interesting one because he's a poet, and I will just prepare everybody. If you were squeamish, this is R-rated, and I maybe would not eat. But this is a poem from a very interesting man in my nomination for Bum Steer of the Year. Year, spelled Y-R, Year, open mouth, awaiting my harvest. Drink from me, my love. I mean to squeeze your cheeks to force open your mouth. I'll hold your nose as you look up at me to encourage you to swallow. Don't spill a drop. I am a river. You are my canyon. I mean to flow through you. I mean to subdue you and tame you, my love. If you are unfamiliar, that means you are a good, normal person. That is RFK, the secretary of HHS. Total lunatic. And one of my nominations for Bum Steer of the Year. I mean, where to start with this guy? So this is somebody who has come into office on the, ran a bizarre third-party campaign, gets brought into the Trump administration when he smells that he would have a whiff of power and influence. And I will say, I don't think played a small role. I think actually played a large role in helping get Trump elected. So that's one notch, even though it comes outside of 2025. This is somebody whose quackery has made our country worse. I mean, let's just start with the damage that he's been doing to the science. One just came out last week. This is a guy his whole platform, Make America Healthy Again. What has that been? We'll get to some of the solutions that he's been proposing in a second. But this is somebody this came Washington Post last week. American Academy of Pediatrics loses HHS funding after criticizing RFK Jr. The Department of Health and Human Services has terminated several grants totaling millions of dollars to the American Academy of Pediatrics, including for initiatives on reducing sudden infant deaths, improving adolescent health, preventing fetal alcohol syndrome, and identifying autism early. And I guess if you do want to make American healthy again, having less people to worry about maybe would help you out. Maybe that's the kind of strategy here. But the damage that we've gotten from RFK has just been immense. The damage that he has done to research in this country, by cutting budgets, attacking institutions, is something that we are going to feel even longer than many other aspects of the Trump administration. Because when you start cutting funding like this, labs, you can't just go back and press an on-off switch. What that means is research that is critical, that could potentially be life-saving, is just being pulled out, and it won't be able to be replicated. It will have to start from scratch. And this means this is like a compounding effect, because this is happening everywhere from like neuroscience to studying of cancer to fetal alcohol syndrome in children, just across the board. And really, for what? I think the thing that's so sickening about all of it is the narcissism of this old man who has always wanted to kind of be taken more seriously by this country, because like there is really no end game here. There really is no end game here other than kind of protecting RFK. I mean, the biggest thing that he has done, and we can put this up here, has been his commitment to trying to figure out a way not to support something like Medicare for all, because look, this country does have a health crisis, right? We should be living in a healthier society, but we don't get support for something like Medicare for all from RFK. Instead, it's waging war on doctors, waging war on medicine, and doing promo for Shake Shack. I mean, I think this was one of the most despicable moments in recent memory.
Diabetes and other mitochondrial diseases are now costing America more than our military budget. We spend 2 to 3 times on healthcare what other countries do, and we have the worst outcomes. And we have the best medical system in the world. We are poisoning ourselves. And it's coming from, principally these ultra processed foods. And what we're trying to do, and this President Trump wants us to have radical transparency and to incentivize companies like this one to switch to traditional ingredients like beef tallow.
Oh, by the way, here you go.
Here's just take the red mask. I'll take those sprays back for you. Okay?
Oh, okay. Is that?
This is you, Sean.
Oh, this is me. Okay, thank you.
Total winner. So yeah, not Medicare for all. Not giving people, I don't know, maybe more free time so that they have the ability to go and take care of themselves, to cook for themselves, all that. No, I mean, it's funny. One of the best indicators about your health in America. You'd be surprised about this one, Matt. Ready? It's your income. So, no Medicare for all, not about increasing, wages for everyday folks so that people have the ability to afford better foods, have a little bit less stress, and all these kind of things that lead to bad health outcomes. Hell, it's not even about trying to make healthy foods more readily available and affordable for people. It's cutting health care and health research in this country and doing ads to make burger and French fry healthy. I mean, it is one of the most ass backwards things, and you got to know that he knows that this is totally full of shit. Like this plan isn't going to go anywhere nor achieve the goals that he has to set out. He is a vindictive and nasty guy who is upset that when he started pushing his anti-vaccine kind of nonsense, that he was ridiculed and laughed at. So we give him credit. He's found a way to get into a position where now all those people who made fun of him before are all now feeling the consequences. Just so happens that those consequences are going to affect hundreds of millions of people as he wages war on our healthcare system, on our scientific understanding. So for that, you got to say, the most vain and vile person in the country, Bumsteer of the Year, RFK Jr.
A really great nomination, and probably hard to argue in terms of the material effect. And a truly nasty pig. Remember earlier this year, he went at Bernie Sanders, said you were the single largest receiver of pharmaceutical money. That was because workers in the pharmaceutical industry, not the lobby representing it, supported him, which, again, that actually says everything there. If you don't understand the difference there, you are very lost. And this guy here, if you aren't an aristocrat, and you thought this guy was delivering for you, you just need to go back and listen to what that he just said. Your sicknesses are too expensive for him to fucking pay for.
Oh.
Okay, we got a military to pay for. You know, we can't be paying for kids to have mitochondrial disorders. Like, actually, we can. Look at Donald fucking Trump and his family. Go look at the trailer for the new Melania Trump documentary. You see the inside of their fucking apartment.
Oh my God.
There is money to pay for this fucking shit in this goddamn country. And to have
There's plenty.
an aristocrat who has, by the way, like, and a real chicken shit one at that, because one, he explicitly called out people falling for Trump fascism in Trump's first term, and bending the knee to him. But also, more importantly, unrelated to Trump, Google RFK American Samoa. RFK had his entire gang down there talking about all the dangers of vaccines. They had a measles outbreak. That sounds familiar because it's getting worse here now, too.
It's getting really bad here in Texas. Yep, 100%.
Exactly. And when that broke out, did RFK say, you know what, some of this is really, it's like, don't look at us. We don't have responsibility in here. Actually, we're just a humble information and inquiry organization. No, you fucking kill people. Yeah, RFK kills people, and it's all a sham, and it is similar to, like we talked about with Jim Brewer talking about fucking chemtrails.
Yeah, but at least Jim Brewer is just a lunatic standing outside screaming at the sky. This is somebody in a position of authority, right? And like you are entitled to believe whatever kind of pseudoscience stuff you want to in your own private time. Might kind of call you out on it or whatever. But this is somebody who, like, the damage that this guy is doing to medical science in this country. Like, I know our audience knows this, but like, it is so difficult to reckon with the scope of damage that this is going to cause. And also, let's not forget the role that this is playing in pushing people out of public research into private research, because people are saying, I don't want to work for the government because it's coming with all of this insanity, right? And that's going into the hands of, like, again, big pharma, like this thing that he's so afraid of. This has been a boon to them, at least when it comes to talent, right? This is something that, like, weakening the public research capacities of the society and putting those into the hands of private entities.
And even the stuff that Maha has been absolute sham. Even the stuff they explicitly mention, glyphosate, the pesticides giving people cancer. There are high school classes that graduated around the same time we did, where by the time they're in their late 20s, half the fucking class has cancer. And so, like, Jillian Michaels and all these other Maha folks, like RFK, talking about glyphosate. I know RFK has talked about glyphosate before, because I think I probably fucking produced an interview that he did on Ring of Fire Radio for it.
I forgot about that.
And I'll tell you what, I couldn't believe it. Like, this guy's voice, it's like he's doing radio, but I guess his name is Kennedy. But anyway, Trump admin sides with Roundup maker at Supreme Court. The administration
the thing he's famous for.
Urges justices to take up Bayer's request to kill lawsuit that claim its products cause cancer. And RFK don't give a shit. RFK is getting what he wants, which is to get to play politician like his family always wanted him to. Only, like, the effects of this are honestly, like, in terms of just raw numbers and like you say, like, the long-term state effects, economic effects, societal effects of slashing all these different research programs and stuff, it's almost incalculable.
100%. Well, I might sandwich mine together real quick because we're running a little low on time, but I want to make sure I get these nominees in, because I think this one, this is the one I'm going to vote for. We will let y'all decide.
Okay.
But I think this one really represents the true spirit of the bump steer. RFK, horrible. I made my pitch for him. I think this guy, when you talk about somebody who is evil but is just incompetent, there is one American who comes to mind for me. And it's this man, Vivek Ramaswamy. Here he is doing his humiliation ritual to the great people of the state of Texas. I don't know what the hell he's wearing. I want to take y'all through
The Texas outfit. I'm gonna get
the
one of those when I
classic thing.
come
I mean,
down.
I wouldn't leave the house without my
Clown
jacket.
suit on.
We're gonna have to start a little bit outside of 2025, just to beginning, just to remind people of what this guy's been going through. Because this guy, I don't know, he thinks he's on the team. This is him while he's running. And this is, I think, a pretty clear moment about what the party and organization is that he is a member of. Is truly like, let me just play this. This is him with Ann Coulter.
And that's why I brought on today somebody who I think has some thoughtful perspectives on the future direction of our country, of our conservative movement, and on this question of nationalism and national identity. Somebody who I've been fascinated by for a long time and have interacted with on social media, but for the first time we're having at least a live form conversation in the offline sense of it. It's Ann Coulter. So Ann, thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. Thanks for having me. That was a fantastic opening monologue. I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
So that's Ramaswamy, and I just want to start.
They didn't get back to it.
No,
I don't think
well, he did. He did go on Ezra Klein and kind of talk about, like, I can't believe that she said this, and we'll get into all this. But I just want to take somebody through, because again, I think in the true spirit of the bum steer of the year, it's somebody who wants to do evil, is fucking up, and is actually making things worse for themselves. People forget when Musk gets involved with the Trump campaign. He doesn't do it alone. Trump has two very special young boys join him. It was Vivek and Elon Musk together, and they were going to kind of work together to fix the administration. Sorry, to help out the administration fix the problems of the Biden administration. Well, almost immediately, Vivek does not understand what it is that he is a part of, because Elon Musk is a lunatic who also wants to pilfer and rob the country. Trump is a gangster, and he wants to organize American society at large to kind of just benefit him and his personal ego. Ramaswamy, I don't know, thought that this was just like going to be typical nice little Republican, give me a job for a couple of years role. Early on in the administration, this is January 20th, 2025, everyone wants him out. How Musk helped boot Ramaswamy from Doge. Musk has already achieved his first victory of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency. His co-leader, Vivek Ramaswamy. One of the main reasons for the frustrations with Ramaswamy was a post he made on X during a discussion of H-1B visas. In late December, Ramaswamy criticized American culture, saying that tech companies hire foreign workers in part because of a mindset in the country that has venerated mediocrity over excellent. They wanted him out before the tweet, but kicked him to the curb when that came out. He also had initially, let's see if I can pull this. He had also had a very different vision for Doge than Elon Musk did. While Elon Musk wanted it to be a government, whatever the fuck it ended up being, which, by the way, long-term, just a total disaster. Elon Musk just like coming up with random numbers, trying to, prove that they were doing something. In many ways, the kind of do nothing agency that they were supposedly trying to root out. But unlike Elon Musk, what Ramaswamy wanted to do, and people might forget about, is that Ramaswamy just thought it was going to be like a PAC, like a political action committee that he was going to have, or a think tank that they could kind of, write some papers for. While Musk really wanted to get access to all of your government data.
It's fascinating. I mean, I guess they do sort of return to the because you're an Indian thing, where Vivek says, it shouldn't just be about lineage, because there could be descendants of the Mayflower that hate this country and hardworking immigrants that, love it. And clarifies that she's only talking about the presidency. which is like, this is this, and Vivek, like, the thing is like, okay, you can make those little points about, well, I think it's a little bit reactionary to come at it from an ethnic standpoint. You have to say this is an insane conversation. I think you're like ludicrous, but he can't, because he's working in a environment where majority of people don't think it's ludicrous, which is, I mean, pretty, disgusting to me personally, especially to cultivate that sentiment. But I mean, that's the thing. He better not fucking win this race.
Yeah, and then for people who haven't been paying attention, he is running for governor in Ohio. We'll see how he ends up doing. He really made it in under the wire, Matt, because I hadn't thought about him in a little while, to be completely honest. But last week, he came out with an op-ed in the New York Times called "What is an American?" And we're going to do a quick reading of some of the large bits here. Because look, while I don't disagree with his sentiment here, just to be very clear that, like, yes, a white nationalist view of Americanism and who is an American is fundamentally anti-American. The problem is, Vivek, is that you have been dedicating your life and your money now to propping up all of those people who, yes, do believe that you aren't an American, including folks like Ann Coulter. And I can't say anything too bluntly here, so I will say it's interesting to hear about Musk's father's kind of ideas on race and nativeness. But Vivek Ramaswamy writes in the New York Times, there are two competing visions emerging in America, in the American right. One vision of American identity is based on lineage, blood, and soil. This view is popularized by the Groyper right, ascendant movement that argues for the creation of a white-centric identity. The alternative vision of America identity is based on ideals. Americanness isn't a scalar quality that varies based on your ancestry. It's binary. Either you're an American or you're not. You're an American if you believe in the rule of law and freedom of conscience, of expression, and colorblind meritocracy in the U.S. Constitution and the American dream, and if you are a citizen who swears exclusive allegiance to our nation. So, death of the salesman, if you believe that, you're no longer an American. As Ronald Reagan quipped, you can go live in France, but you can't become a Frenchman. But anyone from any corner of the world can come live in the United States and become an American. No matter your ancestry, if you wait your turn, obtain citizenship, you are every bit as American as Mayflower descendants. As long as you subscribe to the creed of American founding, blah, 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 blah. Vivek, these are your buddies. These are the people who you've been working to get in power. This online right movement going on, this online right movement doesn't represent the views of Republican voters. I don't know about that, actually. That's been something that has been a big issue even for you in your political career, that a lot of people don't accept you as an American. As I was one of the most vocal opponents of left-wing identity politics, and now see real reluctance for my former anti-woke peers to criticize the new identity politics of the right. Do you have any thoughts on that, Matt?
Look what you made us do. I mean, look, if you're not willing to take responsibility for like where these actual projects come from, this isn't come from the left. This sort of thing it's Klansman shit. And it's fascinating to like see it from the scope where I have like a national political audience, because there are certain folks that call me a traitor. And then you get the people who trace their lineage back to like old Virginia. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I'm a traitor. I'm like one of the German sort of mongrels that shouldn't have been allowed in the fucking first place. And we're in a weird place right now where like people generally think of themselves as white. They don't understand like what white means to the different types of white supremacists. It's made up again, like exactly,
it's totally made up.
It's all these different imagined communities. Some people just think it's the 1950s. Some people think it's the 50s.
Just wait till you hear what they think about Italians too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or Greeks. You know?
Right. But like, yeah, like this idea that it comes from, maybe you can win a primary in the Republican Party being self-flattering like that. Like, no, they're just doing what the left wing does. I don't know, man. I don't think that's a very good argument.
But just like, I'm sorry, you were like involved in the MAGA movement. You were involved in we're working close with Elon fucking Musk, the guy who like made Nazism legal again, right? These are the people you were fraternizing with or doing Nazi salutes, dude. I am sorry. I don't wish you to be the victim of like, you know, racial abuse or anything like that. But this is completely bullshit, man. It is total bullshit to sit here and start talking about this after what it is that you've been involved in. I'll read this last one here and just, you know, letting people know that like there will be some ugly language that he's going to use here. Racial language has been thrown his way. Older Republicans may doubt the rising prevalence of the blood and soil view should think again. My social media feed, who owns those, by the way, Vivek? My social media feeds are littered with hundreds of slurs, most from accounts that I don't recognize, about, quote, Pajeets and street shitters, and calls to deport me back to India. I was born and raised in Cincinnati, and I have never resided outside of the United States.
Yeah, Vivek, what's the left-wing corollary to that, buddy? What's that happening? Like, that is hate. That's, yes, on the right. That there's no like leftist doing that to you. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But what would be welcome is Vivek to take responsibility and say, I was fucking wrong. There's a real problem here. But he's running for office. He's not afforded that kind of candidness in a Republican primary.
He just wants, look, don't forget this. This is a rich guy, and he is involved in politics because he doesn't want to be taxed, because he doesn't think that he has social responsibility to the rest of the country, right? And he's now sitting here like, wait a second, I thought this was just about like lowering my tax bill and like protecting my companies and my friends who own you know, corporations. I didn't sign up for all this race stuff, and it's like, sorry, man, that is the fucking machine that your class of people, the corporate class, the millionaires, the entrepreneurs, have hitched their wagon to, because they find this kind of racism incredibly mobilizing for their project that Americans, working class people, aren't interested in. So you are a motherfucking dumbass, and I think you're the bum steer of the year. But
that's, I mean, just one final note. That is a key schism in the right. Is all these tech guys who did get what they want, and right now they are in the middle of the heist and the alarm's ringing, and so they're like, Trump, give us that moratorium on states stopping AI. Give us like, make sure you partner with OpenAI, invite all these different tech companies into the White House for all this PR stuff. They all got to get it now, because once people realize the whole fucking data center out on the edge of town now, it isn't bringing us any kind of prosperity. It's actually made everything fucking stink, and my energy prices cost more. There's going to be it's done. They are not. This is the tech bros are teaching Republicans a lesson in the short term profit maximization, which is doesn't give a fuck about what happens in the long term. Get it now, buddy. Get it now. And who cares? Make whatever promises. Oh yeah, AI data centers on the moon, full self-driving, just a few years off, tunnels that can get you across town traffic. It's all coming. Cut our taxes and do not regulate us. And it's all, we got it right around the corner.
And, you know, and you can burn the country down if you want, while you do it. Sorry, buyer's remorse, man. Sucks to suck. Folks.
Come on. Make him lose, Ohio.
On that note, that's it. That is going to be it for 2025. It was a really, really incredible year, and we couldn't have done it without all of the support we've had from this amazing Left Reckoning community. So for that, you know, from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of Matt's, thank you all so much. 2026 is going to be even bigger and even better. We appreciate all of y'all so much. Get your votes in for the Bum Steer of the Year. We'll announce that, and we'll be back again. We're taking off this last week of December, but we will be back in January with more Left Reckoning for y'all. So see you soon.